Well, guys, once again, good evening. Welcome to our session. Before we start, guys, just like, let's say, general messages, maybe to share, like to make sure that the information is clear, I hope, as much as possible. Ya oficialmente empecé a revisar las actividades que hemos realizado en clase, la del viernes. Y pues, bueno, la de ayer, a medida que iban presentando la conversación. Lo digo en español para que no nos quede como ninguna especie de confusión. Entonces, bueno, ingreso acá. Proyecto, bueno, proyectar toda la pantalla más bien. Ok, alguien esperando. Sí. Guys, entonces, para de pronto los estudiantes nuevos, ya esta fue la del viernes, ya no se puede hacer ninguna edición. Como les había contado siempre, hacemos la actividad de clase, queda habilitada por el día siguiente antes que sea nuestro momento de la sesión. Esta no la cerré ayer, por lo que pues era el primer día, el viernes, mientras se ponían al día, fin de semana, etcétera. Por eso esta quedó cerrada hasta hoy. La de la conversación que hicimos ayer, pues sí quedó ya cerrada hoy como marca, por decirlo así, la actividad. Solo para aclararles, como que quieren decir las correcciones que les voy marcando acá, siempre lo que va, en este caso highlighted, viene siendo palabras que deberían ir ahí agregadas, ¿listo? Si está tachado, es porque quiere decir que esa palabra no va ahí. En algunos casos lo que hago es cambiarla de puesto porque pues no estaba en la posición que correspondía. En algunos casos, pues si no hay ninguna corrección, simplemente good job y ya. Digamos que como cumpliendo con que se hizo la revisión y no hubo ningún ajuste. No sé si fue en esta, fue con el otro grupo. Si llega a estar subrayado y en un signo de interrogación encerrado, sí fue con los otros. Quiere decir que no entendí. ¿Listo? De alguna manera yo siempre trato como de buscar qué era lo que querían decir y por eso subrayo, tacho, cambio de puesto, agrego cosas. Pero si a pesar de que trato, le doy la vuelta, no entendí, le pongo un signo de interrogación y ya. Entonces, guys, recuerden, en las actividades la idea es esa, las hacemos en clases, sé que algunos casos de pronto van en el celular, no pueden, whatever, queda habilitada hasta la siguiente sesión. Igual yo reviso las que ya están, ¿listo? Y yo voy revisando una vez, voy colocando la nota. También aclaro, de pronto ustedes se preguntarán, especialmente los nuevos, bueno, y si hace la corrección y se vuelve y se presenta, no, ya como queda, queda, ¿listo? Ya si quieren hacer la corrección, para que ustedes lo hagan para ustedes, de alguna manera para tenerlo presente, pero ya digamos que la nota queda con la primera versión que está ahí. En algunos casos yo veo que hacen el ajuste, me llega a mí el mensaje de que ya fue como terminado, por decirlo así, lo que sale el comentario que ya fue resuelto, la palabra que usan ahí. Qué bien, pero pues ya en la nota que se pone es la que se asigna desde la primera versión. ¿Listo? I guess I can turn to English now. Remember that in this case, it appears in this folder that we have materials, the part of sessions. Remember that you go to each session and you have a look at every single material that we have. And then in that part is where you see the link that is going to take you to that activity that we were doing in class. Okay. In the case of yesterday, let's say you can't edit it anymore because the idea was to like have that, let's say, support in order to present the conversation that you created. You had here like the box. While you were presenting the conversation, there weren't many corrections to be made. So in that case, the one from yesterday doesn't have like any possibility to be, let's say, changed or adjusted. Let me remind you guys a little bit that I choose the activities that will be part of the gradable component. We may do one activity every single session, but it doesn't mean that I'm gonna use all the 8 activities. The final day, I choose like at random 5 activities from the ones that we do during the session. If in one of those activities, probably you didn't attend, you didn't do it, then you forgot to do it, and unfortunately there is a 0. Unfortunately, that's life, okay? But make sure, guys, hopefully that you do all the activities, because it doesn't have a grade, it doesn't mean that they are not important. Okay, maybe in case that you don't remember that, you say, but I don't remember what the information is. Probably the link was sent, but I don't really know. On last Friday, I sent the email. Okay, it's the last one. Just like telling you, this is the information, and here it is like that presentation that I used during the first minutes of that session, you know. I was telling you that trying to keep a kind of protocol for you to let you know what we are doing in this second part of every single session. So all the links are here. In case that you forgot where they are, the name of the email is materials B1.4 Bloque 2, bueno, Spanglish, the name of the email, but that is what it is. Do you have any questions about that, guy, before I take attendance?
No, teacher.
No, I don't.
Okay, great. Well, I hope for the new participants, the conventions are clear. And once again, if you have any question, well, let me know. Let's take attendance. Saray Acevedo.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Cristian Albarracín.
Here, teacher.
Okay. Andrés Álvarez.
I'm here, teacher.
Okay. Joelia Ayala.
Here, teacher.
Okay. Andrea Vaca.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Gilbert Cárdenas.
Here I am, teacher.
Okay. John Carrero.
Present, teacher. Good evening.
Hello. Brian Cordero.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Stephanie Córdoba.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Silvia Durán.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Freddy Fonseca.
Here.
Okay. Judy Lisette Liscano.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Diana Lisette Lozada.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Daniela Lozada. Well, looks like Daniela is not here for the moment. Let me just make sure. Well, I don't see her here. Andrea Juliana Muñoz.
Here, teacher.
Okay. Natalie Joana Pérez.
Here, teacher.
Okay. Mayra Juliet Pinzón.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Mayra Alejandra Plata.
Hi, teacher. Here.
Hello, Mayra. Harold David Rodríguez.
Hi, teacher.
Hi, Harold. Angélica Stephanie Sandoval.
Hi, teacher.
Hello. Daniela Fernanda Sierra.
Hi, teacher.
There you are. Ana María Velasco.
Hi, teacher.
Hello. And we finish the list with Jennifer Jimena Vera.
Here, teacher.
Perfect. So just to confirm, the one that is absent tonight is, for the moment, Daniela Lozada. Okay. We'll see if she eventually takes part of the session. Well, guys, let's begin. We officially start with our unit 2. We already know how fast, we progress on our units. And although it is only Tuesday, we are going to start our second unit. Let's have a look at what the name of the unit is. We're talking about ups and downs. And of course, we'll have a look as well at the different topics that the unit, let's say, has to offer. We are talking about grammar, forming adjectives, forming nouns, and forming gerunds. Tonight in particular, it is a little bit grammatical, We'll be talking about forming adjectives. Probably there is something like already rings a bell in your mind, especially for the ones that were in the previous cycle. We already talked a little bit about forming adjectives. We're going to expand that information that you already know with extra information. So one part is going to be more like a review. The other part is going to be, well, I know that you know, but like officially presenting how we form adjectives. In terms of vocabulary, we will be talking about describing how you feel, things that make you feel good. The task will be a class survey, and the section of work culture talks about the happiness formula. Okay, so just for you to keep in mind, these are the different aspects that we will be studying in our unit 2. I'm going to move to my presentation. I think there is a microphone open. I don't know, probably there is a question. Let me see who that person is. Well, I'm going to turn it off just in case we listen to something we shouldn't listen to. As you will see, let me zoom out. I just zoom in to have a look at the information that the unit has to offer. You already noticed that it takes some parts of the unit, like to present them easily, I dare to say. Let's see what the first part of the unit is about. Here we have some facts, you know. Keep in mind that we're talking about ups and downs. That would be like, let's say, the context to keep in mind of this unit. After we read them, the idea, guys, is that you give me your opinion. And let's say that you answer these two questions that we have in here. The first question says, do they surprise you? The second question, can you think of any explanations for them? Let's have a look at the first fact that we have in here. Andrea Munoz, could you read it, please?
More women than men feel bad tempered in the morning. 82% of
82?
women say
82?
85% of
Okay.
women say they sometimes feel grumpy when they get up, compared to only 75% of men.
That's it, very good. Thank you very much, Andrea. And let's have a look at the second fact, Judy Lisette. Could you read it, please?
Yes, teacher. Most parents say that spending time with their children is what makes them happiest. However, when they are actually with their children, the majority of parents report feeling stressed and frustrated.
Stressed and frustrated. Okay. Probably the ones that have children here would eventually let us know how accurate that, let's say, opinion is. Two different facts. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to think about the answer of the questions. Remember, the first one, how surprised you feel, you know, with the information that is being presented. And on the second one, which could be the possible explanations for them. Remember that we're talking about both facts that we have in here. Once again, I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Think about the possible answers. And then I'm going to ask some of you to share your ideas. 2 minutes starting now. Okay, guys, thumbs up. Let's have a look at your answers, what you have to say. So first, I would like to know if there is anyone who likes to volunteer. Hopefully you raise your hand so we avoid like two people giving the information at the same time.
Hi, teacher. Me.
But you didn't raise your hand, Daniela. So I'm going to ask Judy first and then you go second.
Okay, teacher, I'm going to answer the first question.
Mhm.
I surprised just with the first fact because I can explain why more women than men feels bad temper, but I think maybe it's because we have to do more things when we wake up, especially if we have children.
Mhm. Okay, that makes sense. Judy, thank you very much. Natalie, what about you?
Teacher, I agree with I don't know who called, okay, but a woman had a lot of pressure. I'm not sure how can I say
Pressure?
presión.
Pressure.
Okay, a lot of pressure at work, study, because sometimes it's hard to be a woman and we had bad days or physical things. So I think it's something like that.
Okay, Natalie, thank you very much. Of course, we have like different perspectives. Any other volunteer? Raise your hand so we can listen to your opinion. Sarai, what about you?
Teacher, in the second fact, I think because in my case, my little niece want to play every time and I don't have time to spend with them. Also, they are very demanding and throw tantrums if you don't want, don't do it when what they want.
Okay. Oh, that looks like something very annoying. Two more, three more. Andrea, Miguel, and then Freddy.
Teacher, with the second part, I think that the parents should share a lot of time with their children, but they have a space for themselves, and that this way they don't get stressed or frustrated. Yes, because it's a space for children and a space for yourself. I think
Okay, that would be it.
it's difficult, but
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. Well, let's see the perspective of men. Brian, what about you?
sorry, teacher.
No, that was it, Andrea. I'm just asking Brian, yeah, to give the opinion. Thank you, Andrea, of course. So, Brian, you raise your hand. Do these facts surprise
Yes,
you?
teacher. Yes, I got surprised because normally I get up with good emotions in a positive way. Um, and I didn't know that the the majority of men have a every day wake up in a bad mood. I didn't know this fact.
Okay.
Maybe it can be about they haven't an a high quality of rest.
They don't have?
Maybe because they have to work a lot or have many occupations.
Okay, that will be. Brian, thank you very much. And Freddy, what about you? How surprised are you by these facts?
I'm gonna go for the first fact. Maybe I
Okay.
was a little bit surprised by that fact, but I was thinking that maybe for women it will be really stressful in the morning because some of them have to put on their makeup. Maybe it could take some time, or there could be other factors that could make it stressful, not only for women, but for men also. That's what I think.
Okay, Freddy, thank you very much. Yeah, this is definitely like a very, I would say, subjective situation based on the perspective, right? And also the roles that are assigned for every single one of us. Probably in some cases, men would consider that they also have a lot of responsibilities in the morning, but that is not like the discussion that we're going to have tonight. Well, of course, it would be difficult to know how people feel, you know, that is the reason why we had this first question, like, how surprised are you? And I'm changing the question, but the idea is pretty much the same. So, you know, in the book, in the second part, actually, they are talking about a kind of device that would help us track our feelings. It's a very short reading compared probably to other readings that we have already done. And we're gonna have a look at the information. And you're going to answer these 3 very short questions. Once again, compared to other readings that we have done, I'm pretty sure that this is going to be very easy for you to identify the answer of the questions that we have in here. The title says, track your feelings. Let's see, let's read, let's divide it into 2 parts. So somehow we can, let's say, separate information. Okay, I guess it was from the previous exercise. I'm gonna put that hand down. Mayra, please, could you start reading this track your feelings paragraph from the part that says as psychologist until day.
Mayra Plata or
Oh my God, it's going to be like B.25 and I'm not going to remember. Mayra Plata.
Okay, track your feelings. A psychologist has invented a phone app which he claims will make users more self-aware and able to make better informed life choices. Do you want that I continue, teacher?
Yes, please, until day.
Okay, sorry. Track your feelings. Blips user and random points in their day.
Okay, very good. Let's continue with the next part. We have from users until from 1 to 5. I would like to ask Angelica to read that part, please.
To type?
From users until 1 to 5.
Okay. User says that they are doing and choose a word to describe how they feel. Registering the strength of their feelings from 1 to 5.
And then we finish the paragraph. Sylvia, please. The inventor until how all the time.
The inventor stresses that the app must be used during the activity or immediately afterwards, as he believes that we often recollect our feelings differently from how we felt at the time.
That would be it. Thank you very much. A very short text. Once again, I dare to say also that the 3 questions are quite literal based on what it is being asked. Guys, do you have any questions about the text? Probably something related to vocabulary that you will, of course, as a group would like to clarify too.
Teacher, what is the meaning of lips? It's a verb.
Yeah, it is a verb. In this case, well, in some cases, it's also a noun. It could be a noun. Actually, it's a sound, you know, usually it's related to like an electric sound. Like beep, that's a bleep.
Okay, I got it. Thanks, teacher.
Okay, welcome. Okay. Okay, very good. Well, guys, here you have the 3 questions. I'm gonna give you 4 minutes to answer them, just like to clarify what the idea of this track your feeling device is. And then we will move to the next part. Pretty simple. What does the inventor claim it will do? How does it work? Well, of course, in these 2 cases, the questions are pretty literal. But I want you probably to pay a little bit more attention to the 3rd one. Now you think an app like this would be useful to you? I would like you to expand a little bit on that one, okay? But anyway, I'm gonna give you some minutes to think about it. 4 minutes starting now. information that was presented on the text. And of course, the third one, more like your perspective. I would like to ask Natalie, what does the inventor claim it will do?
It's an app, and it's for psychologists. So the app can register when the person was stressed or something like this. I'm not sure if it is the way to say that.
Okay, well, yeah, I know that you're using like your very own words. More like the process. Maybe Christian can enrich a little bit what you have said, Natalie. What is like the purpose of the app? Yeah, not like how it works, but the purpose of it. What's the intention of that app in particular?
Track your feelings. Is the purpose for the app.
Okay. And well, maybe another Christian, if you want to add something else to what Natalia has said, which is correct, of course.
Basically, it's like allows the user to know better her feelings, in which activities is being more stressful, which one are being more relaxing for him or her, and based on that person make better decisions in his life.
Okay, very good. You both guys, of course, were correct. It's because I had already asked Christian and I didn't want like to tell him, okay, now don't say anything. But of course, what you said is correct. And I know that you didn't want to use exactly the same word from the text, which is absolutely excellent. Actually, number 2 is asking how it works, and the idea actually is to provide information of the process and the moment like to use it. Gilbert, how does it work?
Okay, teacher, the idea of this app is only choose one word to describe how they feel. And also, he said that, let me check. Okay, so only registering the strength of their feelings from 1 to 5.
Very good. Well, probably one important aspect to keep also as how the app works is that the app, as the question that was being asked a few minutes ago, like it blips. So the moment that the app blips, you have to look at your phone and to say what you are doing and how you're feeling in that moment. It's like also that, let's say, unexpected moment of the day when the app blips in order to keep the information that you, Gilbert, already explained. And guys, do you think an app like this would be useful to you? I would like to ask Daniela Fernanda. How useful would that be to you?
Teacher, I believe that for me, yes, because with that, if you know what is the problem or what is the source of my stressful, yeah, I can concentrate it in that and work in it.
Work on it.
You know, exactly. If I am if I have conscience of my problem, it's better to fix.
Okay. In this case, would be better to use, Daniela, if I have awareness. It's like what you want to mean, not like la conciencia that we mean in Spanish. In this case, would be awareness instead of consciousness. Okay?
Okay.
You have awareness, like
awareness. I can work in this.
Work on it. Okay. Thank you very much. Let me ask Harold. Do you think an app like this would be useful to you?
Hi, teacher. Okay, I guess that maybe could be useful for me because maybe sometimes I get stressed and make me put my feelings in that apps could make me feel better because it's like when we try to talk with anyone. So I guess that maybe could work for getting better.
Okay, very good. Let me ask two more people. John, what about you? How useful would that be for you? John? Well, tell John that I was asking him a question a few minutes ago. Let me see if I get a different perspective. Andres Alvarez.
Okay, teacher, I think that this app don't work for me because
Wouldn't work.
okay, it's probably that at beginning I will be responsible with llenar, with we fill the app when
Okay, with filling in the
we
information.
yeah, we're filling with the information, but after some days I will don't use it more.
I won't use it.
I want to use it more.
Okay.
The result of the app don't won't help me.
Okay, it won't help you because it wouldn't be accurate, right? Because you wouldn't provide all the necessary input to make like a real, let's say, test of your feelings. Okay, Andres, thank you very much. That is also a possible situation to happen. Freddy, yes, what about you?
Well, I find that this app might will be like a little bit like stressful for me, because maybe if I'm busy at work and take the time to test the app what I'm feeling at that moment, maybe that could be stressful for me.
Okay, very good. Absolutely. Thank you, Freddy, and thank you, guys. If you haven't spoken tonight, don't worry, we will have more chances during the development of the session. We're going to move now to the grammatical component of the night. Remember, guys, that we are talking about making or creating actually adjectives. I was telling you that there is a group that we have already studied, but of course, we will have a look at them once again in terms of reviewing it. I usually like to take, let's say, a step back in order to refresh our memory. I know that all these concepts are not new for you, but just to make sure that we have, an alignment on what we are talking about. First of all, we have to remember what adjectives are. Of course, if we have a look at very linguistic definition, it will be something really long, but we need just a very precise definition of what adjectives are. Remember that the idea of the adjectives basically is to give us extra information. And when we say extra information, we can say that it could or describe or modify the noun. Once again, when we're talking about nouns, we're talking about people, animals, things, objects in general, but we don't need to expand on that part yet. We will do that on the following session. There are, of course, different examples of adjectives. Here would be like a very simple example. It says, the black cat was angry. As we can see here, black and angry are the two adjectives that are describing, in this case, the noun, which is cat, right? Of course, when we're talking about adjectives, we have a really big range of them, from positive to negative. We have things like important, necessary, beautiful, and another set of rules that we also have to keep in mind, because these are not the only, let's say, types of adjectives that we can use. When we create adjectives, among all the different possibilities, we have a group that is created by using prefixes. Once again, just to refresh your memory, guys, when we're talking about prefixes, we are talking about a group of letters, as the name states, that goes at the beginning or when the word is starting. It's very important to keep in mind that we say a group of letters, not a word, because a prefix by itself doesn't really mean anything. We need to put it next to a word so the prefix now makes sense, and then we have a new definition for that word. What is the thing or what is the trick with prefixes and eventually with suffixes? We will see that the more suffixes in a moment. The situation is that we don't have like a perfect rule to know which prefix goes with which word. I mean, I can tell you that, for example, ill only goes, let's say, with words that have 2 syllables, you know, or that we use inter only with words that are related to geography, or we use these to words that are related to a positive connotation. Unfortunately, this is one of the cases that we have to learn things by heart. Like the maximum thing that we can do, like in this example, will be to organize, you know, a set of words, organize them because of the meaning that they have. For example, when we have these prefixes, notice that they alone, they don't mean like anything, you know. We see ill, im, ir, in, and these things, this group of letters don't give me a thing in terms of the information, right? But now that I put them before or at the beginning of the adjective, we have illegal, illegible, imperfect, impolite, irrelevant, irrational, inconvenient, and inactive. Notice that now in this case, the words have a new meaning. And what is the meaning? Opposite of. We have active, and now the opposite will be inactive. We have rational, and now thanks to this prefix, sorry, the opposite will be irrational, and so forth. Notice that when we're talking about opposites, we have like 3 different categories. How do we know? We learn them, we use it, probably we make the mistake, but that's how it works. We have the meaning of extreme, between, and across. That is why I consider that it was necessary to put this note at the end, you know? Not all prefixes can go on all words. So usually it is important or to use the dictionary, or probably you look up the words to make sure that the, let's say, combination makes sense. We can't rely on Spanish, guys. That is something that, although obvious, is very important to point out. Going back to the general idea of this topic, we are talking about this set of letters that are helping us to create adjectives, of course, with positive in some cases, negative idea in some cases, neutral idea. We can't say that international is positive or negative. It is just an adjective that is being presented, okay? Guys, from this part, any question?
No,
No, teacher.
teacher.
Thank you. Okay, if we have the prefixes, of course we have the suffixes, and that means the group of letters that change the meaning of a word when they go at the end. Pretty much the same idea. When we're talking about suffixes, we have different possibilities. For example, professional, structural, national, legal, and so on and so forth. Notice all the possibilities that we have. And you know, guys, actually, there are even more. I'm just presenting you probably the group that tends to be more common, but you may consider that more common would be something like subjective to consider. But at the end of the day, that's how it works. I want to point out let's say, suffixes in particular that we have, which are ed and ing. If we are talking about a group of suffixes, probably these 2 are actually the real, let's say, popular ones. And this is the group that I was telling you at the beginning of the session that I'm pretty sure that you're already familiar with. Just to refresh your memory, when we're talking about ed, keep in mind, guys, that we're talking about feelings or emotions. I'm using exactly the same information that I used in the previous cycle, hopefully like to ring a bell in your memory. And all those examples and exercises that we did, let's say, come back. When we're talking about feelings or emotions, that means that we're talking about living beings. Of course, that means people, and we're talking about some animals. And based on that same point of view, that means that we can't use the adjectives with ed to describe an object or a situation. I can say that my friend is bored or that I am confused. I can't say that a book is bored, that my laptop is bored, because it is an object, right? Only for living things. In which cases, when can I make a description for living things in this type of suffixes? Of course, then is when ing takes place. Remember that ing is providing us a characteristic. Usually we're talking about something that is a little bit more permanent. For example, here it says, my friend is boring. That means that that is a characteristic that the person has, you know? When we see that person, we already know that the person maybe speaks too much and blah, blah, blah. And that is a quality that belongs to that person. So let's say that unfortunately, that is something that belongs to him or her. In this case, I am confusing. Once again, that all the information that I say probably cause confusion. That is unfortunately a possibility to happen. In the case of ing, keep in mind, guys, that we can use it for living things and also for objects. Now we can say that a book is interesting, and that is a characteristic like forever for the book. We can say that a movie, well, keeping with the whole idea, is annoying, maybe. You see the movie and you hate the characters, the plot, you consider that the script is awful, and that is a characteristic that goes forever with it. So, to summarize, we're talking about adjectives. We already know the typical adjectives, like in this case, black, angry, good, bad, beautiful, handsome. But of course, those are not the only, let's say, lists of adjectives that we can use. In order to create adjectives, we have, let's say, other two possibilities. The first possibility will be to include prefixes, just a few letters that are helping us to create a new word. Remember that the prefixes by themselves, they don't mean anything. We need to put them next to the adjective. In some cases, will be to talk about the opposite, to give extra information between, across. Of course, not only prefixes, we can use suffixes to create adjectives. There are different types of suffixes, and there are two that probably are the most common, I dare to say. ed, when we're talking about feelings and emotions, and ing, when we're providing a description of a characteristic about anything that we are talking about. But at the end of the day, that's the idea of all of them, to provide a description. That's the intention of an adjective. Guys, tell me, do you have any question? I know that this is a lot of extra information talking about the grammatical component, but it is important to refresh our memory about these things. Tell me.
Teacher, sorry, I didn't remember where the difference to use an adjective that the end is ing and ed.
Okay. In the case of ed, we're talking about a feeling or an emotion that the noun has. In that order of ideas, only living things have feelings and emotions, right? We can say that a person is bored, you know, that a person is interested, but I can't say that a book is bored, right? Or that the computer is confused, because those are not living things. ed always connected to feelings and emotions. That is why only for animals and people. The case of ing can be used, could be animals, people, and things, because we're talking about a general characteristic that any noun has, you know? That is basically the intention on this part. I always use the same example with interesting. You can say that a person is interesting, that probably, I don't know, a play was interesting, that a match was interesting, and it's okay, you know. Also, it is important to clarify that ing, well, it's a characteristic that is more like in terms of long term. I'm going back. While ed, because it's a feeling, it is considered a little bit temporary. You may feel bored, but you won't be bored forever, right? Probably after a different activities, you will be interested in something. Or maybe you won't be confused all your life. Sorry, just during the development of the session or during this topic, then eventually the topic will be easier to get, so you won't be confused anymore. Better, Andres, or the same?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I got it.
Okay. Good,
Teacher,
guys. Yes.
in the slide number 8, there are the suffixes that change completely the meaning of the word, right? Because for
Well,
example,
yeah, give me
well,
your
some of
perspective.
ones, some of ones.
Some of them. For
Like
example,
in the legal, for example, professional.
but
Legal.
you're okay.
Or I don't know if this example is not. I don't know. I get a little bit confused because it changed completely the meaning of the word. In this case, particularly.
More than changing the meaning is that when we see this ending, let's imagine that we don't know the meaning of the word, right? Let's imagine like that. So when you see this ending, you say, okay, I'm not quite sure about the meaning, but at least I know that the grammatical category is an adjective. So I can say, I can't say I legaled, like talking past, you know, because now I know that thanks to this suffix, it's an adjective. That's more like the idea. In some cases, the adjectives are born after a verb. Sorry, for example, this one. Help is a verb, but when we add the suffix full, it becomes an adjective. And that happens a lot. So that's like the idea, you know, like let's say I don't know what it means, but thanks to that suffix, I know the category. So that is a word that I use to describe.
Yes. Okay, teacher.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that was like something important to clarify. Something else, guys? And well, guys, remember, unfortunately, the reality, maybe compared to other rules that we have discussed already, this is not like a perfect thing. Like, let's say, okay, when we're talking about present perfect, we always have to use the verb in past participle, and we learn it by heart, and then we know that that rule is not going to be, let's say, problematic because that's how it works. In this case, as I was telling you, we can't say only this group of letters goes with, I don't know, I already gave you all the possible examples. We have to learn them by heart. And once again, let's not rely on Spanish. Why I'm telling you like not to rely on Spanish? We know that in Spanish, when we have P, usually the letter that has to go before is bilabial one, like M. But notice that in English, we don't use unpleasant, it's with N, unpleasant. So Spanish is not going to be useful for us in this type of situations, okay? So how do we know? Practicing, that is the only way to do it. So guys, this is what we are going to do. In our book, on page 17, here we have a practice. Going back a little bit, like to recover the topic that we're talking about today, talking about feelings, talking about sensation. In this case, we're talking about a kind of wisdom words. I'm going to read the instruction for you. It says, at Inspirations, we offer words of wisdom to help you through your daily life. Here are your favorite this week. As you see, we have different, let's say, quotations, let's put it like that, and they are incomplete. What you're going to do is that you have to complete them with different suffixes, okay? That is basically the idea of, well, not only suffixes and prefixes. Notice that there are different combinations. So what you have to do is to make sure that the combination that you choose makes sense, okay? We're gonna do this in groups because, well, it's a lot of vocabulary, and there is also one activity that I want to do after this part, okay? So notice, here we have these words of wisdom, sorry. All of them are very profound and philosophical, but the intention actually, or what I want you to pay attention to, is to complete all the adjectives that we have in here. We have prefixes and we have suffixes, okay? Guys, questions that you have related to the instructions? Hey.
Yes, teacher. The rules to complete the suffixes is in book 2.
Yes, actually it is. I just expanded a little bit on the grammatical component. This is the grammatical, thing. If you want to have extra information, look at page 134. Yeah, what I did was like to take this and put it on the presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry for the noise. Yes, and usually when we have the grammatical chart, it has like extra information at the end of the book. In this case, this topic in particular will be on pages 132, only that page. Okay, let me create the groups, something very, let's say, light compared to other activities that we've done before. As usual, let me make the adjustments. Give me a moment. I'm sorry, this always takes a lot of time, but I just want to make sure that everybody's well organized. One, two, three. Se me perdió un Gilbert. Okay, I found it. I made it. Okay, guys. In the moment that I sent you, because it's a lot of information, you have to look at the chart. You are going to compare among yourselves. I'm going to give you 12 minutes. When we get back, we will have a look at your answers. Remember the context, words of wisdom, and then make sure that all the new adjectives, let's call them new adjectives that you create, make sense. Okay, let's start. Y Joelisette. Brian. officially finishes and all the rooms are closed. Okay, welcome. Well, guys, the idea was to complete them. The context was like those inspirational quotations that sometimes we find on magazines and things like that. And of course, in terms of the grammatical component, the idea was to use the prefixes and suffixes, of course, talking about the adjectives. Let's see how we did. Let's begin with the first quotation, and I'm going to ask from group number 1. We have Diana, Harold, and Judy Lisette. Diana Lozada. How is the quotation now all complete with the suffixes?
Life is a fascinating journey, but sometimes the journey is more exciting than the destination.
Very good. Both cases with ing. Perfect. Let's have a look at the second one. It is divided into 2 parts, but it's okay. I would like to ask from group number 2, Freddy, please, could you read it?
Yes. Those who constantly run around are not always the most efficiently. Sometimes it's more useful to stop and reflect.
Okay, you said more efficiently. Let me ask from group number 3. I see Ana Maria and Jennifer, if you agree. Ana Maria, you also have efficiently, or in this case, number 3?
We have efficient.
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 With NT?
With NT.
IENT.
Yes.
And why not efficiently, Anna? Why do you think that that one doesn't work? Oh, well, you know that is efficient in your heart.
Yes.
Don't worry, that's the important part. It has a kind of like Ana Maria, but that wasn't the assignment. Don't worry. In this case, efficiently doesn't work because ly is the suffix for adverbs. And the function of adverbs, most of the cases, is to modify or give description of verbs, you know? So efficiently, in this case, if we put it in here, would be defining those, and those is talking about people. So that's the reason why we can't use ly. We need only the adjective to give information about the noun, and not ly, which would be an adverb that gives us information about an action, okay? That's the reason why, group number 2. Is it clear?
No, teacher, can you repeat again, please?
Sure. When we have the suffix ly is for adverbs. And just as I was like refreshing our memory about, let me see if I'm sharing the whole screen. No. Just as we were refreshing like at the very beginning, adjectives describe nouns, people, animals, situations. That's it. Adverbs describe actions, you know? I can say, for example, that I run slowly. Not that I'm a person, doesn't mean that I am slow. It's only that action that I do slowly. So every word, let's put it word that finishes with ly, it's an adverb, which means that it is talking about an action. So if we say here efficiently, will be about an action, but notice that this word, the one that we needed to complete here, is defining those. Those is people, you know? So we can't use the adverb. We have to use an adjective. That is why we only use efficient. ly, it's a suffix for adverbs, not for adjectives. That's it. Okay?
Okay, thank you, teacher.
Thank you.
Welcome. I hope that I don't confuse you. That's my intention. I know that sometimes these grammatical like explanations are a little bit, I'm not gonna say boring, but kind of demanding, but sometimes they are necessary.
Teacher, sorry.
Yes,
I'm so
tell me.
sorry. Could you repeat the explanation again, please?
The suffix ly is for adverbs. This one. You won't find a word that finishes in this ly being an adjective. Adverbs only modify verbs. And in this case, this exercise was looking for adjectives to modify nouns. ly is the ending like mente that we have in Spanish. So that's the reason why they are assigned only to modify verbs. In this case, efficient is talking about people. Once again, we can't rely on Spanish. Porque uno diría, no, pero lo hace de forma eficiente. In our case, it works. But in English, it's not correct to use an adjective to modify a verb. Adjectives with nouns, adverbs with verbs. It's very, very restrictive. Well, if we find it in the future, then we see if the situation was clarified or maybe we need extra information. Group number 4, we have Andrea, Christian, and Sylvia. But it doesn't have numbers. Could you read the third inspiration quote, Sylvia?
Okay. Few people are successful simple because they are talented, and most success because they are determined.
Succeed because they are determined. Okay, very good. We have full ed and ed. That was it. Let's have a look at the next quotation. Would be this one, number 4. I would like to ask from group number 5, Mayra Plata.
Teacher, sorry, is unpopular, perdón, determinate,
ED. I will show you then the answer key for you to compare with your answers, but yes, determined finishes with ED.
And talent, ED?
Talented, yes.
Okay. Both.
Both, and the first one is successful.
Okay, yes, successful, okay, thank you.
Okay. So Mayra, 8 and 9. Mayra Plata, by the way. Sorry. It's not here, Mayra?
Yes, teacher, I'm here. I had a problem because my friend, he burns his hand, and I'm trying to fix this problem here. I'm really, really sorry.
No, don't worry, that happens.
Thank you, teacher.
So could you read number 4? I mean, the problem is like during the development of the exercise, or you could do it?
No, I wasn't, teacher. And he was my friend putting alloy, and I'm really sorry. But my friends, I saw them, they were speaking about it.
Okay. Let's ask then Andres.
Okay, teacher. Life is a series of marvelous opportunities.
No, this one. It doesn't have a number, so we're talking about 8 and 9.
Okay. Tell the truth, even when it hurts, it's better to be unpopular than dishonest.
Dishonest, that's the one. That's it. Very good. Angelica, yes.
Sorry, teacher, can you repeat the answer of the 7? Please, I can listen very well.
7 was determined.
Determined. Teacher, and why we can use determine with termination ed?
Again? Could you repeat, sorry?
No. With the termination, the answer is the text, the chat, yes?
Yes, determined.
Okay. In our group, we talk about this.
Suffix?
This, yeah, because when you explain that, you say that ed, termination ed is more temporal situation, but I don't know, maybe the term determining it's more a long place and long time. So I wonder if you can use both, or the answer is only determined.
In this case, it's very determined because we're talking about like the feeling or emotion. I know that you were thinking about determining, something like that, but we're talking about how the person feels. First of all, we need to remember what determine is, right? Do you remember what that is? Determined?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, so that is like a state that you have. In this case, we can't, or well, a synonym would be a little bit like that you resolve something. The thing is that based on how the expression, or in this case, the quotation is being presented, it's an emotion, you know? I'm sorry, I'm going to use Spanish. Usted es decidido. No usted está decidiendo. I know that, well, it's not ideal that the explanation goes in Spanish, but it wouldn't make sense to talk about the action because even in ing, it would become a little bit like something in progress. And determining doesn't match here. Not at all.
Okay, teacher, thank you.
Actually, in this case, it would be better to use a determining when we're talking about like a situation, determinante. But we're talking about how the person feels. It is definitely an emotion. But okay, that was an interesting discussion I'm sure that you had in your group. Well, guys, let's continue. What's the time? Okay, number 10 and 11 from group number 6. We have Andrea, Brian, and Natalie. Andrea, would you read your quotation, please?
Yes, teacher, is 10 and 11, yes?
Yes.
Life is a series of marveling opportunities, but many come disguised as unsolved problems.
Marveling? That's not
Yes.
the adjective. Let's ask. Okay, you have another possibility for number 10?
Well, we were thinking about marbles finished in ed, but we don't know.
Remember that we had other suffixes, not only ed and ing, right?
Marvelous, teacher.
Will be marvelous. Yeah, because actually, guys, marveling, it's a noun, you know, and even in some cases, it's a verb. But in this case, once again, we were looking for the adjective. Marvelous is the one. Very good.
Teacher, but why marvelous?
Because that's the adjective. What did you have in your group?
It's like a rule you have to learn and what?
Yes, that's the annoying part of this type of topic tonight. That is something that you have to learn by heart. Yeah, because you had some of you had marveling because we have already said that with ing we have also adjectives, right? But marveling in particular, it's a noun. Or even it's a verb, you know, when we're talking about ing. So we gotta be careful with this thing. Yeah, it is not like a perfect rule to follow, like, okay, always goes in this way. We have to learn the rules. And in the case of marvel, the suffix is marvelous. That's the thing. No marvel. Well, any other suffix would sound weird, actually. So I don't want to say crazy things that then get recorded. The final one from this crazy situation tonight, Angelica from group number 7.
People who are always pessimistic, pessimistic have one advantage over those who are always optimistic. They are really disappointed.
Rarely disappointed. Very good. I think that we can have a look at the answers if I click here. Yes, guys, so you can actually check in case that you didn't listen. Here you have them. We usually or the process, to work with this is like we start identifying certain words. We know that the connection or the combination goes on this way. We have to be more aware of the grammatical categories. I know that when we talk about grammar, that's not interesting. I prefer communicative skills and blah, blah, blah. And of course, I mean, I think that everybody agrees on that. But there are some aspects, on the essence, on the most basic structure of the language that we need to recognize in order to know when to use what. So this is one of those cases, that we have to go a little bit deep on those linguistic things. And we need to know that adjectives go in this certain way with certain suffixes, that there is not like that perfect rule. Eventually we're going to talk about nouns. We will have almost the same discussion that we have today, but in that case, we will be talking about nouns, once again, talking about the grammatical category. It's not that as interesting maybe as talking about input and output, but that's part of the language and we can't deny that part. Okay, guys, questions? More? It's normal, it is annoying not to have control of the situation, but that's how it works. You learn the rules and it becomes more natural at the end of the day. Well, guys, our final activity then. This is what you're going to do. You're going to go back to your groups. I'm showing the whole screen. Yes. I had set 5 because I planned like starting this at around 9:20. But I think that if we have enough time to create 5 would be perfect. But at least 3. Okay. This is what you're going to do. The instruction says, let me move this bar. You're going to write your own words of wisdom, Of course, the idea is that you're going to use adjective. This is the example that we had on the first one that you completed. It says, just to refresh your memory, life is a fascinating journey, but sometimes the journey is more exciting than the destination. The idea, guys, is that you use adjectives, on those different words of wisdom that you're going to create. I repeat, my idea was for you guys in your group to create 5, but if because of time, you can't make it, at least 3. That's the expectation that I have. I'm gonna send you the link of the PowerPoint. Wait, it's already there. Talk to your group, Mayra, in my case, no problem. I was going to say something. Guys, make sure that, well, if you type like the names of your classmates, it's because they are providing, input and feedback for the information that you are creating. That would be it. It is 9:34. I'm gonna give you a little bit more than 10 minutes. So when we get back, we can have like, let's say the closure of the activity. Of course, I will be checking your slides to make sure that you are using the information. Probably will make some adjustments. In case that you have any question, let me know, okay? Well, in this moment, do you have any question,
Sorry,
guys?
teacher. Of course. Do we have to do fights quotes or do we have, sorry, do we have to use fights words for making our code?
The idea that you're going to create 5 quotes similar to these ones.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah. In case that time is not enough, because as I was telling you, at least 3, guys. I think that in your groups, you can create the minimum of 3. If you can create the 5, that would be perfect. Okay. I'm going to send you to the groups right now. Hi, two people are not in the groups. Why? Ah, bueno, Gilbert, because I know. Sarah, you weren't in the previous activity? Yes, no?
Yes.
Do you
Yes,
remember
teacher.
the group? No. The thing is that maybe because you had problem with connection and you came back, it's like Zoom forgets the room that you were before. So I need you to refresh my memory. In which group were you before?
7, teacher, my group.
With Stephanie.
Sarah, sorry, could you repeat?
7. I
Seven?
am Stephanie, but she
Okay, gracias.
with
Thank you,
me
Stephanie,
in that group.
for helping Sarah in this difficult moment. Group 7, okay. Thank you.
Teacher, me
And
to the group
Brian, you
too,
too.
please.
Sorry, Brian, which one? Brian, I interrupted you, sorry. Which one, 6?
It was me, teacher, Gilbert. So my group is number 2.
Ah, Gilbert, sorry. Okay. And Brian, I don't remember yours.
Number 6, teacher.
Okay. There you go.
Thanks.
Welcome.
Teacher, I'm sorry, I had an internet connection. So what are we doing?
I don't remember if you could do the previous activity. Let me.
I was doing it with my partners when my internet shut down and I couldn't complete it.
Okay, do you remember the group which you were working on?
Honestly, I don't remember, teacher.
Yeah, because we're working on the same groups, in this case, to create like statements similar to these ones.
No, I can't remember the name of my partners.
Maybe.
So they were two girls.
I think it was group number 3 because it's the only one that has 2 participants. So it has to be that one because all of them have 3.
Yes.
I'm gonna
Thank
send you with them, okay?
Sure.
Okay. There you go.
Dani, aún tienes la cámara prendida.
Also there in the chat. Well, guys, thank you very much. Remember that in case that you haven't finished, this activity will be available until tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow I won't be grading it like yet. Different from the conversation, you know, because we already performed it yesterday. In case that you want to make any correction or any adjustment, then the day after tomorrow, I will actually have a look at the statements. Keep in mind that the idea is to use the adjectives, okay? That is like the core of the situation. The whole quotations is like to give it a context, but the main intention is that we can see the adjectives being used in those 5 quotations, okay? Well, most of you have already finished, but once again, if you want to make any corrections, you still have tomorrow to make them. That would be it. Guys, as usual, thank you very much. Have a good night and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, teacher. Bye.
Bye, teacher.
Take care, everybody.
Bye, teacher.